Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at my community day prediction for the upcoming year 2024. I have never done this before. I think I didn't do it last time, but I feel like it's a cool one here. And of course for me, there's a main focus on PvP here, but also I know that a lot of other people do those kind of videos as well. For them, they have kind of a different view of it. But here we're gonna take a look as well at some potential updates for them. And actually 2 of the community days for the upcoming year are already confirmed. Actually 3, but like one is a classic one, which I'm not gonna talk about in this video. But let's take a look at the community days that at least I predicted, as well as that are already confirmed. Already confirmed is going to be the first one on the 6th of January, going to be Rowlet. Going to be a very cool shiny, as you can see on the screen. I put every shiny as well on the screen for every prediction, so you can see how they're gonna look like, which is kind of cool. I also only have Pokemon in here basically that are already in the game. There's some kind of gray zones there, but you're gonna see it anyway. Here you have predicted moves, which you're going to see as well. Our Spirit Checker and of course Frenzy Plant. Usually for those community day Pokemon, recently at least, they got like 2 moves, like one of their signature moves, and then like Frenzy Plant, Blast Burn, or Hydro Cannon. And Spirit Checker already got found in the code with the exact same stats that you're going to see here on the screen. Frenzy Plant been in the game since like, yeah, forever. So very strong moves here in general. But still, as you're going to see on the next slide, we're going to have here the Decidueye having overall rating from 1764 is not really bulky. It's like kind of in between. Having Leafage as your best fast move is kind of awkward. I feel like Leafage kind of deserves a buff. Also would help for something like the Lantern, which is kind of too overpowered in my opinion currently. So hopefully Leafage gonna be like a Shadow Claw clone. I feel like this would be kind of appropriate. I think it needs like 1 more energy to do that or whatever. So yeah, would be really cool in my opinion if this would happen. But let's take a look here at what it can do with those moves. And as you can see, this Pokemon can do a little bit, but it's not going to be insanely great either. Spirit Checker, Frenzy Plant going to help it out quite a bit against like Pokemon like Carbink or Swampert. So you're going to be able to answer those Pokemon that you're supposed to answer as a grass type. And Spirit Checker in general here is going to be decent coverage, or like decent as a bait move. It's a little bit lower energy, 5 less energy than the Frenzy Plant, but in the end of the day, you're usually just going to go for Leafage plus Frenzy Plant. So don't know how important this is going to be. The next one, which is going to be confirmed, is going to be Chansey. Chansey is going to come as the February community day, and it's very likely to be Egg Bomb. I just made Egg Bomb a Sludge Bomb clone here because they're both bomb moves, and it's just kind of, it's funny, I thought. I think it's also kind of something that would be reasonable. We don't know if also Chansey going to get access to the move. I would imagine so, because Chansey, at least for PvP, is the more interesting one. And yeah, Blissey itself for defending gyms, of course. And so I don't think it's going to be that important. We saw already with the Vikavolt community day that the pre-evolution also got the charge move there, or like in this case the fast move there of Volt Switch. So I could see something similar happening for the February, as Chansey is like, actually for most people Chansey is better than the Blissey. Also even how like the defending works. Here we're going to see again Egg Bomb 80 to 50. You could even argue to make it a little bit better, but I don't even want it to be a little bit better. Psychic got nerfed as well, so here's actually still the, I think it's, no, it's actually the already nerfed Psychic. I guess Dazzling Gleam or whatever might be a little bit better nowadays, but it will not change too much about the battle ranking. It's still not going to be a great Pokemon. It's still going to be pretty garbage, and I feel like this is how it's supposed to be, because Pokemon is not anything that you want to see in the meta anyway. So I don't think that this is going to make this Pokemon any way better or anything. Like, this is going to make this Pokemon a little bit better if you would give it over Hyper Beam here, by the way, but it's not going to make this Pokemon meta, which I hope will never be the case, because you don't want to battle against Chansey. Trust me, it is not worth your time. So we can move on to now. All things coming up now is predictions, mainly Pokemon that have like a 3 evolution line, as well as some signature moves, which I kind of wanted to focus on. One of those going to be the Scolipede here, or also Venipede then here. This Pokemon is getting the access to the move Steamroller. It's not an exclusive move for this Pokemon, but it's kind of an exclusive move for this Pokemon. I think it's just like Golem learns it as well, but otherwise no one really learns this, so it would be interesting to see this. I made it here a very, very strong in terms of damaging move there for Rollout. We saw Niantic now with basically the Incinerate update, experimenting a little bit more towards like different kind of fast moves at a little bit longer turn, with like a little bit better damage per energy and energy per turn. And as you're going to see in the next slide, of course, we're going to see that Scolipede is going to have here very decent stats actually for the Ultra League. You need a little bit of XL candies as well for this Pokemon, but it's not going to be overpowered or broken or anything like this. Gaining 514 average rating, gonna make it usable, but it does not make this Pokemon insanely meta either. Extra Such Bomb is already great coverage actually for this Pokemon, so I would not even want to see it as a charge move. I feel like as a fast move it would help this Pokemon out a little bit more, but again, you saw already, it has to be a very strong one in order to be decent. But cool shiny, and I could see this definitely happening, especially like for the spring side, to have some kind of bug type Pokemon there. Next Pokemon, going to be something that I would love to see actually. Kinda going back to like old classic Pikachu community day, not as a classic but as a new one, because Pikachu actually has the signature move Volt Tackle, and Volt Tackle in the main series games is basically Wild Charge plus 30 damage, which is kinda interesting here just to make it basically the exact same damage as in the main series games. You could even argue of going for 130 for 45 energy, and it still would not be broken, because this is a thing as well which I would love to see for more Pokemon. Make like some certain moves that are really unique and not a lot of Pokemon learn, but they are pretty bad in general, but like with those moves they have a little bit of potential at least. Here Volt Tackle would do a ton of damage in any neutral scenario, which would help out especially the Raichu of course. Maybe you give it even to Pikachu, but this would be very interesting here, as you can take a look at this one. Volt Switch, Volt Tackle, Trailblaze now, which is going to even buff the attack further, which might be interesting. But as you can see here, it's not going to be broken. It's going to be an interesting Pokemon, might be even viable for the Great League, which I would love to see, but it's not going to be a Pokemon that you're going to see all the time because it's super broken, because also there's the weakness still against like ground type Pokemon. Yes, you have Trailblaze, but you're still going to be fairly squishy. Your stats are not going to be the best, and I feel like this is something that Niantic should try to start doing anyway. Make Pokemon that are squishier a little bit better by having like ridiculous moves kinda on it. Of course, like Volt Tackle would be a ridiculous move with 120 damage for just 45 energy. Of course, you're also going to debuff your own defense. But as you can see, there are a lot of Pokemon that are still going to be able to deal with it. Even a Lickitung, neutral scenario for you, you're still going to lose against it. So it would not be broken at all, but it would be a very cool one there for Raichu. So I would love to see this one here. And I feel like it would be, I don't know, like it would be kind of a cool thing there, definitely. Next one coming up, going to be another one for the starters. It's going to be a Litten, and we're going to have here also, like basically the example before with the, what's called Decidueye. We're going to have here now Blastman and Darkest Lariat. I don't think that Darkest Lariat can have a secondary effect like the Spirit Shackle, because Darkest Lariat in the main series game is ignoring basically stat change, I think, in terms of defensive and like evasion or something like this. So that's not something that you can easily translate into Pokemon Go. And so I would imagine that it's just going to be a damaging move without any side effects. Here basically we're going to have 80 damage for 45 energy. You could even go higher than this. Making this basically, I don't know, a little bit better foul play, which is kind of okay. I think it's the same damage as Dark Pulse, but for 5 less energy, which I feel like is kind of valuable for a lot of Pokemon. This is actually a move that is a signature move for this Pokemon, but actually is now available to a lot of other Pokemon as well, so it might be even interesting as a coverage move for other updates in the future. So we can now take a look at what Incineroar can do in the Great League. With the current moveset, best fast move apparently is the Double Kick, going to give you access to a little bit of better fast move generation. Yes, you still have Snarl, but I think Double Kick does a little bit more damage or whatever. It's just in general the better fast move. Darkest Lariat as well as Blast Burn, and of course here we're gonna see it's not going to be too great, and where I kind of think that you could even go for a little bit of a better one, either with that energy or with higher damage for Darkest Lariat, would definitely be a cool one for it. But I didn't want to make basically a Surf clone again for this kind of Pokemon or whatever, because we already have a Surfed clone Dark type move, and so I kind of want to have a little bit more of uniqueness in here, so we have like a little bit of a stronger variant of foul play. But again, could be a little bit different. Would love to see this Pokemon succeed in the Great League as well as Ultra League or even Master League, because if you play VGC, you know this Pokemon quite well. I think this Pokemon was everywhere for a long time. So let's move on to number 6 or whatever it is now. June Community Day, going to be Gumi. Predicted move, Breaking Swipe. Like, I don't think Gumi has a move that's really signature. I think it has like some acid armor and iron defenses. I don't think that it has like a signature move really. So predicted one is here Breaking Swipe. Got nerfed a little bit. Here we don't know at the current time while I'm recording at least the percentage for the nerf, but I'm expecting 50%, at least that's what I hear from other people. So yeah, this most likely going to be the case. Would also have the Hisuian form. Don't know how this is going to react for that one, but you have to see how this is going to really go. But let's take a look now at what this Pokemon can do with Breaking Swipe. We're going to take a look here at the Master League for the Goodra. And as you're going to see, we have the Dragon Breath, a Breaking Swipe, as well as Power Whip. And Power Whip, I feel like, is a cool coverage move for this Pokemon, being 90 damage for 50 energy, allowing you to hit something like the Kyogre for super effective damage, or the Groudon for super effective damage. And so this Pokemon actually would be really decent for the Master League, as you can see here. Even though Breaking Swipe got nerfed, it still would be a very solid Dragon-type Pokemon and would have its place. Being a little bit bulkier as well, with a high defense stat here, as you can see, going to make this Pokemon fairly viable there is for sure. And as you can see, like, you're going to be able to hit harder against something like an Ursaluna, Kyogre, or Groudon, which you all win thanks to Power Whip. Let's move on to the next community day. You know, Niantic, of course, if we have like a really good community day, we kind of have to have more of a mediocre one afterwards. We're going to have here Whismur, which I feel like is like something that definitely would be something Niantic like to put as a community day, but it would learn a move called Echoed Voice, and I feel like this would be a really cool normal type attack that might come into the game. You're going to see that I made it a 4-turn move with 4 damage per energy and 4 energy per turn, so it's basically the same energy and damage per turn than, for example, the Incinerate, but you could even argue that 4-turn moves are worse than 5-turn moves, and also you have no chance of hitting something for super effective damage, which I feel like is also a big part of why I feel like this is kind of balanced, as well as a lot of Pokemon, especially really bad Pokemon right now, that would appreciate a new fast move, would learn Echoed Voice, so it might be even impacting other Pokemon in the future. So I feel like this would be a cool idea for this Pokemon, especially would be really fitting for Whismur. And as you're going to see here, Explode with Echoed Voice, it's still not going to be broken. It's going to be maybe viable in some limited matters or whatever. The stat product is actually better than I thought it would be, but again, like, you could even go for the Boom Burst if you wanted to, but again, the stats are more of a theory anyway and nothing like to prove. But I would love if the Echoed Voice would be maybe even more energy generating than what I just had there, just to get to those Boom Bursts a little bit easier and have some more fun with this kind of Pokemon. Would be a cool answer for Lickitung for sure. So would love to see something similar towards this for sure there as well. Like, if Echoed Voice would be a decent move forward, I think that would be really cool. But yeah, again, would be just an idea for a new move to come into the game. Again, a lot of other Pokemon learners move as well, and I think it would be a cool idea to have a little bit of a, I don't know, clunkier fast move for a normal type Pokemon that still is going to be very solid for a lot of them. I think that would be a cool idea. Next one, we're going to have here the Primarina, or like Poplio here, with a community day as well. Cool line, but I have to say, I am not adding Sparkling Area to my game code, and I'm not going to even look at this really. The thing is, Sparkling Area in the main series games is going to be a 90 damage water type move. And we already have Hydro Cannon. Like, Hydro Cannon is basically the most insane water type move anyway. And if you might think, oh, Sparkling Area maybe has like some cool secondary effect, it only can clear burn, I think, from the target or whatever, which is actually like worse or some stuff, or even from yourself. I don't even know, but it does not really translate at all into Pokemon Go. So fairly certain that they're most likely going to add Sparkling Area, but I'm also fairly certain that nobody ever going to use this move unless it might be interesting for raids, which could be the case. But here, for this example, it does not make sense to include it. Unless they are going to make it a fast move, which I cannot see before a 90 damage move that has like a crazy animation, so who knows. You're going to take a look now at Primarina. Primarina has access to Charm or Waterfall as your fast moves. Disarming Voice and Hydro Cannon most likely going to be the best because both of the fast moves are generating energy fairly slow. Not going to make this way crazier for the Great League. Going to be a little bit better for Ultra League as well as Master League though, but I kind of want to showcase the Great League here because it's for at least the most people, the most interesting one there. Definitely going to be still meta though for the Master League, so definitely a worthy community day. Let's take a look at the next one. We're going to have here another one that would be something that Niantic would love to do. We're going to have here a regional bird again from the Alola region. I feel like it would be something cool, especially here to have this shiny because it looks kind of cool. But what we have here is Pikipek, and Pikipek is also something that learns a signature charge move, or like signature move in general, as the final evolution form Toucannon, which is going to be Beak Blast. You might even argue to higher the damaging output basically from this move. Here I basically made a clone of Drill Peck, which it already learns before, but gave it the guaranteed chance to drop the opponent's attack, because basically in the main series games you have like this Beak Blast move, and if the opponent hits you with a physical move in the exact same turn, then you're going to guarantee a burn onto the opponent. Burn onto the opponent we had, I think before already, where it was like kind of handled as an attack drop, so might be an interesting way to handle it here, because in the main series games it also drops the attack stat of the player, or like from the burned target. So it's going to be an interesting Pokemon here for sure. It might be even better to higher up the damage output though. Yeah, let's take a look at the Pokemon itself. It's a very squishy Pokemon, but has Bullet Seed as well as Rock Blast as coverage moves, which I feel like might be interesting. And as you can see here with Beak Blast, which is going to get the guaranteed debuff there, it would still be not the meta Pokemon, but at least has a decent average rating of 479. Might be a fun Pokemon to use, but it's most likely not going to be meta, unless Beak Blast is going to be a very, very strong move and gets like 80 damage for 40 energy. But who would do that? Here we're going to have now the October Community Day, and I feel like this is something that I would see a lot more as well, which would be the Pawniard line, because Pawniard was in a lot of recent events that were like paid, like the Go Fest and whatever. So I'm fairly certain that they're going to just try to milk it a little bit more for this season, or like for this year, and then put it at the end of a year as a community day to give its final evolution there, the move Kauto Cleave, which is going to be here in my example, basically an Avalanche clone, which would be a very strong charge move for Dark types. Could be anything else as well though. It's just a very solid Dark type move, as well as the ability, I think, of the Pokemon that uses here, King Gambit, is going to boost it up a little bit as well. So it would be a very strong Dark type move in the main series games. But let's take a look at this Pokemon in general with a new move. King Gambit is already having basically Snarl, Exeter, I think it has Iron Head, Focus Blast, as well as Dark Pulse in the move pool. So basically Kauto Cleave is just a way better Dark Pulse. And as you can see here, would have a lot of play with this moveset in the Open Master League. And so I feel like this would be a cool Pokemon to have, and I think it would be a cool community day to have as this Pokemon. That's kind of something new as well from the Paldea region, but I feel like this would be kind of balanced. Final one for the day, because there's no December one, because December is always just all the community days that we had prior already. Going to be the, let's take a look at this one, the Clink. Clink would be an interesting one here. We have Gear Grind as a move. Gear Grind is a move that hits twice, so like the 50 damage here is actually 100 damage. And so yeah, it would be an interesting Pokemon here. I made it a Hydro Cannon clone, which is very strong. I know I basically talked a little bit about it before, we were just joking about it, but it has to be very strong. And I still don't think it would be overpowered. Yes, you have Thundershock as well, but Steel is a pretty bad offensive typing, only hitting Ice types, Fairy types, as well as Rock types, which most of them at least are not really that common. Fairy types, you may have the Alone 9 hit, which is cool, but otherwise you have Azumarill, which is still neutral against them because of the water typing. But I feel like it has to be kind of something like this, otherwise it's going to be kind of useless. So let's take a look here at this Pokemon. Going to be having a okayish overall stat product there, and Steel typing only. We're going to have Thundershock and Zapcan already as a moveset, and now with Gear Grind. It might be a cool Pokemon to have. It's again not really the most overpowered one, but I could see like something like this happening as well. We had like the last few years something that was basically only egg exclusive. For example, we had like the Shinx, I think 2 years ago. This year basically we had the what's called Conkeldurr, which was also something that was egg exclusive, so I feel like this might make a lot of sense. But yeah, that's going to be it for my prediction. Let me know in the comment section which Pokemon you would like to see for the upcoming community days for the new year. Feel free to let me know, feel free to leave a like, and also feel free to click on the videos on the screen. I'll see you then, bye bye.